Welcome to Monster Monday, keeping in with the theme of the week, which is Black and White Week over in Killer Flicks. I thought about a bunch of different things that I could do, and the first thing, of course, I wanted to do was this, because I have not touched this yet. I have seen, the regular ones. I have seen Dracula, I've seen Frankenstein, I've seen Bride of Frankenstein, I've seen Creature from the Black Lagoon, Wolfman, and I think that might be it. But this has everything in it. This has 30 films, so this is all of their movies. One day I'll do this, but obviously I can't do this whole thing in a week. Although me being me, I might be able to do it in a week. I just don't have the time right now. But I do want to do it. So that was my initial desire. But instead, I'm going to go with Stephen King's The Mist. Now you're like, oh, well, this is in color. It is, but Frank Darabont, his vision for this film was to do it in black and white. And in the special edition here, I don't know if we can read it here, but yeah, it's out of focus. But anyway, Frank Darabont introduces The Mist in black and white, the director's vision. So there is a copy of it on here in black and white. This is the first time I've watched it in black and white. As soon as we said black and white, it was one of the first things I thought of. I was like, oh, I could watch The Mist. And then I was thinking about the monsters, and I was like, nah, we're going to do The Mist, because I've always wanted to watch it in black and white. And I dug it. I don't know. It's kind of like he says, he does a little intro at the beginning. He says he really likes both versions. It's the same film, obviously, so the quality of the film is the exact same. But the feel of it is different, being black and white. It just feels like an old school monster movie, which this essentially is. But anyways, before we get into it, a couple things really quick. I want to open up another package, because I don't like to just do one 2-second video for opening up packages. I'm guessing I'm sure you can guess who this is from. Johnny Banks, as usual. So let's open this up. It's another shirt. I can feel that. Man, look at it. I'm wearing one right now from him. These shirts he gets me are just amazing. So what do we got? No fucking way. Wow, he really is going out of he's looking anywhere for these. So Valley Girl is one of my favorite teen comedies of the 80s. And one of the other ones is Just One of the Guys. Now I have a Just One of the Guys t-shirt. Holy shit, man. How fantastic is this? I'm sure this is literally the only one that exists on the internet. So it was it's this or nothing. And man, it has a really weird smell to it. Interesting. It's probably anthrax. He gains my confidence, gains my trust, and then he exploits it. Speaking of shirts, awesome shirts. Johnny, Just One of the Guys. Valley Girl, dude, you really know me. You really pay attention in my videos. Thank you so much. I want to also point out really quick here, I just have to share it. I went and I bought myself, I saw today when I was at Walmart earlier, this amazing shirt. So I have to show it really quick, because I'm a big Rocco fan. It's a long sleeve, so it's got Rocco's Modern Life here on the arms, on both arms, same thing. And then on the back, we have Heifer, Rocco, and Spunky. How cool is this shirt, man? I had to pick it up. It was only $11 at Walmart. So if you're big Rocco's Modern Life fans, they have one. They also have one for Rugrats. But Rocco's Modern Life is my favorite cartoon of the 90s. I was so big into it. And I have the actual, I think it's in the house. I have the complete series. Anyways, okay, let's get to this. We're not here to talk about t-shirts, but thank you, Johnny. That was fantastic. 5 minutes into the video. And we barely even talked about The Mist. And I have a feeling this is going to be a long video. So, Another thing that this made me want to do, I know a lot of people hate it, but if anyone's gonna like something, I watched like 2 episodes, I think, or something. The Mist television series is on Netflix, and I would love to watch it because it's one of the only Stephen King things that I haven't watched in completion. I have watched a couple of episodes, and I actually liked the episodes I saw. Like, I know people were shitting on it; they hate that show, but I thought it was totally fine so far, and I look forward to visiting the rest. I know it got canceled. It's a one-off now. It probably has a cliffhanger that will never get resolved, but it's Stephen King. It's based on his novella, of course, but also this movie, which I adore. I mean, I saw this in the theater. I'll talk about my theater experience as I go on with this. So this opens up with our main character David here, played by Thomas Jane, which I'm a big Thomas Jane fan. If you guys don't know that, I've mentioned it a bunch of times. But he is painting this movie poster, and it is Roland from the Dark Tower. And in the background, there's also a poster of The Thing without the actual title of The Thing. So that's supposed to be one of his paintings as well. So those are really cool little Easter eggs there. Dark Tower and The Thing. And so there's this big storm coming. They got to go down into the cellar to protect themselves. And while they're down there, his painting gets trashed. And he comes out in the morning and he finds that, man, does he take that painting well. Like, I'm not an artist like him. I don't know. Maybe he did it in a couple hours. Maybe he did it in a week. I used to see those people doing speed painting and whatever. So I don't know how long it took him to do it, but it's still a lot of creativity. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of whatever. So man, he takes it well. But I will say this. As I said, I have a lot of things to say about this movie. So I'm kind of curious on how long this is going to run. There's something he says when that happens where he says, it's just stuff. We're all okay. That's all that matters. I saw this movie back when it came out. And a couple years later, I was living with this girl. And we were out one night. And we came back. And I came back to find a 7-inch vinyl that was signed by the lead singer of my favorite band. That I got from him personally. And she knew it was like a prized possession of mine. I'm not usually into signatures. But it was, my favorite band is a big deal to me. And meeting him was a big deal to me. And he's not like a celebrity. They're a very, very small band. So it wasn't even a big deal. But for me, it was. And when she saw it, oh my God, the look on her face. She thought I was going to just freak out, hit her dog or kill her or whatever. I don't know. But in that moment, I don't know, it just kind of that moment kind of just went through me. And I did, for some reason, it entered my mind. And I just realized, it's just stuff. And that's exactly what I said. I'm like, it's okay. It's just stuff. She doesn't know any better. That girl was shocked. I was kind of a little shocked. But that's basically how I've taken everything since. This is all just stuff. My kids break things and all this. It sucks, but it's just stuff. I don't know. That scene really, I don't know. It really got me in a place. It made me realize, the only things that really matter are our loved ones, and that everything else around us is superfluous. So, I don't know. It really helped me in an area of my life. It's just one little line. It's funny how things like that can affect you. Anyways. So I really like that. And I like how he mentions that, she's like, well, can you salvage it? And he's like, oh God, no. And she's like, well, what are the studio going to do? They have to wait. And he's like, oh no, they could Photoshop something together in a couple hours. 2 big heads on a poster. They do it all the time. And it's that show, that is so true. Nowadays, posters suck in comparison to what they used to. They used to look like what he's painting. This artwork that you'd want to hang on your wall. And now it's just lazy ass, just a face. A big head and some words down it. Thor, And there's so many where you're just like, God, you guys are lazy. These are so unappealing. I like that he points that out as an artist that does posters for movies, talking about the downfall of his craft, like kind of his replacement with Photoshop and lazy artwork. And so he has this beef with his next door neighbor, which I haven't read all of it, but I've read some of the story that this is based on, and that was like identical. Where he comes around the corner, and he's like, "Fuck, motherfucker, cocksucker." I like that. But like he comes around and he's already agitated. He's clearly a hothead, which is, I'm not saying I'm not like that. Like I'd probably be doing the same damn thing. But it just kind of sets up that already established tension from before. She's like, don't punch him in the face, which we've come to find out later. He actually did assault him, punch him in the face. And then they kind of make amends for a minute because they bond over him caring for his car. So they decide to go into town together and stock up on provisions. So they all go into this grocery store and they're starting to get things, and everyone's in there from town who can grab whatever they can off the shelves. They're waiting in line, and then there's this big explosion of sorts. What that explosion is, I mean, we don't know. I'm gonna guess that it's the military firing on something, because those air raid sirens, man, I don't know what it is about those. They are always terrifying to me. I guess it's just my brain knowing what that means in my own reality. Like if you hear that, nothing good is happening. If you hear an air raid siren, nothing good. Like it's either, I mean, there's so many things it could be, but it is all bad. So my brain is trained to, when I hear that, to get scared. So when I hear it in a movie, it's exactly what my brain does. So then we have Jeffrey DeMunn, who is in every Frank Darabont anything. Anything that Frank Darabont has touched, DeMunn, is that how you say his name? DeMunn, whatever. I think I said those last two were exactly the same pronunciation. I was trying to make it sound like they were two different things. That was it. But yeah, he's in everything, all the way back. Like, I mean, if you go back. And then another guy that he brings with him, I wrote it down somewhere. I can't remember the damn guy's name right now off the top of my head. Brian Libby, who's that inmate that's running his mouth in Shawshank, who actually committed the murders. And so we got a lot of alums here. And then, I mean, even from his other shows, The Walking Dead, there's a lot of people in here, from Laurie Holden to Melissa McBride, which, and of course, as I had already pointed out, Jeffrey DeMunn. And then also from Shawshank, as I had said, Brian Libby's in this, and William Sadler. So there's just a lot. I like that. I like when directors bring actors with them on lots of projects, and they just kind of become staples of their projects. And so when you see them, I don't know though, sometimes it gets a little overdone, like Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. It's like, okay, come on. You guys can make a movie without each other. That it gets a little annoying after a while, but anyway. We also get Sam Witwer in this movie. He is a big face in Star Wars, or should I say voice in Star Wars. He does the voice for Darth Maul in Clone Wars, and recently Solo Star Wars story. And he also has done the voice of the Emperor and Starkiller over in the Force Unleashed game. So he's a big face in Star Wars. So anytime I see him, I get real excited about that. And the dialogue in this, that's something that Darabont does so damn well. His characters and his dialogue and the way they interact and all that, like, and all the characters in it are so memorable. Like when I watch this, I've only watched this maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. But when I was watching, I hadn't seen it in years. And I was just like, I remembered every single character because they're so memorable. The dialogue between them is so well done. It's so well written. It's so well delivered. I just think this film is absolutely excellent. I adore this film. Now I know I've saw that there's people who hate this movie. I think it's terrible. I think that's a lot to do with the ending of the movie, but that's actually probably my favorite part because I'm a fucking asshole. And then so they go in the back, and Sherman, the Shermanator himself from the American Pie series, goes outside to try to fix the clogged pipe, whatever, tube, whatever, to free up the generator. And, you know, he's trying to talk him out of it, and William Sadler's character, Jim, I think, he's like telling him, like, you're no better than me, and you count your teeth, and next time you're going to have less, and what am I, impugning on his manhood? What is this? Like, he's trying to get through to him, but they're not listening. And so the kid goes out there, and now I will admit, I mean, there's no doubt that the CGI in this is dated, but God, it would have been near impossible to do it the way he wanted to do it. The way he wanted to shoot it. It would have been so hard, actually impossible, honestly, without CGI. So he just went for it, and yes, it looks dated, but honestly, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's something where it's like, yes, that's clearly fake, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I do love, though, that these tentacle things have like teeth all around them, and they come down, they grab onto them, and they just rip chunks out of them as David and Ollie are trying to help, and then frickin' Jim and Myron are standing over there, and they're just not doing anything. Their minds have had it in that moment. And I get that. Like, I understand that reaction. There's going to be people who would sit back and be like, that is not anything my brain recognizes, so I can't even function right now. But David's able to pull it together, Ollie as well, so they definitely seem to be of stronger mind, I guess. And then they go try to tell his neighbor, and his neighbor is not having it. Like, even though they bonded for a second, he goes right back, because that's just it. That's what he talks about in this movie, and it's something that I talk about a lot, and I think it's because of this movie and what he says there when it comes to, like, freaking the chick's telling him, is in the back with the guys, and she's like people are usually, people are mostly good. I believe that, which I actually do believe that. And he said, yeah, like, as long as the machines are working and, the power's on. But if you take those things away, you throw them in the dark and you scare the shit out of them, like, they will turn on each other. They will find reasons to pick sides and freak out. Like, we are this close. Like, yes, we live in a civilized society, but we are, like, just turning off the power for a week. Not even a week. Like, if you turned off the power for an hour and told people it was never coming back on, I'm telling you, within a 48-hour period, half the population would be dead. We would become so primitive, so fast, it's scary. That's my belief. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I just, but yeah, so this movie definitely makes me think of a lot of negative things, so I can see why someone wouldn't like the experience. We find out that one of the big reasons they have a biff, David and his neighbor, is that he punched him, and he sued him because he's a lawyer or judge, and he's going to become like the judge of some big judge. So that adds to why they are at odds with each other, and yeah, in a situation like that, even if you have the smallest of beef, it's going to be huge in that situation. So if you have a big one, oh my God, it's going to explode all over. Then we have crazy Miss Carmody. Oh my good God, does this chick play Marcia Gay Harden, or something? I forget the actress's name. She's fantastic. She's that character that you love to hate. Like, she is a great actress, and she delivers a fantastic performance of like the person that would drive me crazier than anybody is like a character like that in a situation like that, like exploiting her religious beliefs all over everybody so that she can, you know, get some sense of power and, you know, prove herself right after all these years of being called crazy. Like, this is her moment to shine. Everyone's scared and everyone's looking for something to believe in, and she just capitalizes on that shit. And she becomes the, like, the monsters are just being monsters. And that's another thing. Like, this movie basically shows you what it would be like to live in a world where insects were the size of humans. Like, yes, we deal with bears and we deal with, you know, all these predators that are out there. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. But they are nothing in comparison to a life-size spider. Like a human-sized spider, should I say. Life-size is normal size. A human-sized spider. A human-sized ant. A human-sized scorpion. Or, oh my, could you imagine? Could you imagine living on a planet with those things the size of us? I'm sorry, we would be like, we're at the top of the food chain supposedly right now. We would be like somewhere in the middle of their body. So we'd be in their stomach. Oh my God, yeah, no, you do not want to live on a world with those. But yeah, she totally uses this horrible situation to her advantage, because she has just been shit on probably her whole damn life. And now she gets to be the center of attention and look right for once. The thing she says to that chick, like, if I wanted a friend like you, I could just go pop a squat and shit one out. Oh my God. Even the girl sits there like just dumbfounded by what to even say to something like that. Is so awful. And I agree, like, there are so many people in a situation like this that would all of a sudden turn to religion. Like, some of the most diehard atheists would all of a sudden like drop to their knees and find Buddha or Christ or freaking, you know, Muhammad or any damn person that was offering them some kind of salvation or comfort or anything. So it's just funny to watch situations like this unfold with somebody there that's kind of pushing the religious angle, and how many people would jump on it, because I do believe that to be true 100%. And she wants a sacrifice. Like, that's what she's calling for, and she ends up getting it later in the movie. I like when they find the gun and Ollie kind of steps forward and he's like, I can shoot it. And the guy who runs the place, who seems to think very little of Ollie, especially since Ollie kind of put his ass in his place earlier in the movie when he was like, you know what, you need to shut the fuck up right now. So he's trying to get back at him and be like, Ollie, please, like, you know how to use a gun. And then he just like pops the bullets and flicks it over, and he's like, I won the state championship shooting targets, whatever, years ago. And the guy's like, oh, holy shit. Which of course plays into top 2, top 3 favorite moments of the entire film. If you've seen this movie, like I hope you have, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Another great line from this movie that I just love and I repeat with my brother all the time is the judge guy or whatever that sued David. He turns around and he's like, there's nothing out there, nothing in the mist. The way he says that, I don't know, it's always stuck with me. They tie the rope around Brian Libby's character, the biker, and he goes outside and it like goes up into the sky. I think that in that moment right there, that's probably where a lot of people would be like, okay, like I believe in whatever. I don't care. Just make me stop being terrified right now. And then it comes back and it's just his waist, just legs. Could you imagine? Holy shit, man. You don't have any idea how scared any of these people would be. And so the whole failed romance between Sam Witwer and that chick in the movie, it's just to kind of show a little bit of character development before both of their demises. So we get like a little 1-minute scene of a relationship that never was, but should have been. And when she dies from getting stung and she's all swelled up, and when he gets sacrificed, which is, Jesus Christ, what a horrible scene to have to watch. like we just care about them a little more. But outside of that, we don't really get anything from them. So it is a extremely quick way, and to try to get us to care. And I think it's decently effective, but I think they should have spent a little more time with them because it doesn't have the emotional impact it should. But outside of just like, wow, they're sacrificing some poor kid because he's part of a place that clearly he had nothing to do with this. Clearly he didn't do this. He's not a scientist. He's not somebody who could have done the Arrowhead Project. But yeah, they want someone to blame. So they grab him and they throw him out and feed him to the monsters, King Kong style, so that he'll leave them alone. But I will tell you right now, they should have fucked, right? She's like, not here, not now. It's like, now and here is all you've gonna got. All you're gonna get. Jesus Christ, Jason. Then we got the flying bugs who come in because of the lights, and they break in, and that's when she gets killed. And the fact that she's the only one that got bit by one of those bugs seems a little ridiculous to me, but come on, this movie is expecting you to suspend tens of disbelief, so whatever. And the mop fire, oh my god, yeah, I mean, it's a cool idea to light a mop on fire, but you have a bucket full of flammable liquid right there, and you're lighting freaking, fire around it, and people are in a rush, in a hurry. They're going to knock that thing over, and it's exactly what happens, and that guy gets burnt up and doesn't die, and he's in so much agony, he wants them to kill him. So they decide, we got to go to the pharmacy next door, get some Silverdine, try our luck there. So a bunch of them go over there, and then a gnarly ass scene happens. They're all cocooned in there because these spider-like creatures are in there, and they shoot this like acidic web that can burn through people's clothes and legs and everything. It like wraps around that guy's leg and like tears some of it off. Gnarly stuff. But then they have these people who are cocooned up there, and this guy is like freaking out, and like his skin is all just like pushing up, and then he eventually falls on his face and just breaks like a piñata, and bugs crawl all over the place out of him. That scene is disgusting and awesome. It is probably one of the most visually cool moments in the entire film, and just shocking and gory and graphic, and I adore it. One of the women in there kills herself after she sees what happens. She's like, I don't want to go out like that. I don't want to fucking die like that. Which we find out later she's not the only one that shares that same idea. But somebody else should have waited, obviously. And then the crazy lady is talking, and she's talking all her bullshit, and the old lady takes a can and just rocks her in the head with it, and she tells her that stoning is okay in the Bible. I thought that scene was funny. She just gets belted by a can. Holy shit. I do also love when they come back and David wakes up and they show him that Jim has traded sides. Once he went over there and he saw everything that was happening with the spiders, he was like, expiation, man. And I love Ollie saying, like, welcome to Sesame Street. Today's word is expiation. I don't know, the reason that fucking scene made me laugh so hard the first time, and every time I've seen it since. But so they decide, all right, we got to get out of here. It's time to go. And they go and they try to store some groceries behind the counter. They're going to bail out. And Carmody's up there waiting for them. And then she's fucking like has this huge moment of like power where she thinks that she can control everything. And so she starts calling for the death of his son and of the whore, as she calls him. I want the boy and the whore too. Like, kill them all. She is just like blown out of proportion. She has this attack mob, and she's just going way out there. And then Ollie shoots her, and let me tell you something, man. She shoots her, and I was like, oh, it was shocking. It was awesome. It was shocking. But like, she falls to her knees, and then I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then Ollie just like walks up and fucking point blank range executes her right through the head. Every single person in my theater, including myself, cheered out loud at that scene. It was like clapped her and screaming and yes. which of course is exactly the opposite of what happened at the very end of the film. But oh my god, that moment in the movie, holy shit, did we love it. And I like how Ollie's trying to explain himself. And he's like, I had to. There was no other choice. And he's like, that's why I said thank you, Ollie. Like earlier when he shoots her, like he looks over and he's like, I killed her. And he's like, yes, I saw. Thank you, Ollie. And then he's like trying to explain. He's like, that's why I said thank you. That I love that dialogue. Like he doesn't like. It's not something you want to celebrate unless you're in a movie theater. But in that moment, it's just like, thank you. There was nothing else that could be done here. And of course, these are people who were civilized not 2 days ago. They don't want to think of themselves as murderers, but it had to be done. This chick was the head of the snake. A terrible snake. A poisonous snake. It had to be put down. It just had to. In my opinion, there was no other choice in that moment. Ollie did the right thing 100%. And then that woman's like, you murdered her. Shut the fuck up. Are you serious right now? You murdered her. Yeah, she's only trying to get a little boy and a woman murdered right there in front of you. And she already murdered someone earlier. But we're the murderers. Awesome. Then they get outside, Ollie gets killed, which is really sad to me. And then the gun is on the front of the car. David goes for it. They're like screaming at him, no, David, don't get it. And if he would have just listened, they would have all lived. If he didn't get that gun, they would have all lived. But he had to get it. And I get it. Like he wanted it for protection. He wanted it for whatever. But yeah, just think about that. That's fucked up. If you really think about that. If he wouldn't have grabbed the gun, if he would have stayed in the car and listened to them, the car would have ran out of gas, and then they would have sat there like, shit, what do we do for like hours? And only like 5 minutes later, they would have been rescued. So, I don't know. It's kind of messed up to think about. I do like how they drive by the front of the store and almost give them like a fuck you. Like there's no reason for them to drive around because the exit's out the other side. So they like circle around and drive past. It doesn't really make any sense to do it, but I do kind of like we got to our car. See, we got to our car and we're out of here. Fuck you. They go to David's house and he sees his wife up there cocooned, which is just awful. And then we get to see the size of these monsters. These things are huge. They're the size of freaking mountains. They're enormous, some of them. And then, and then the infamous scene, which, oh man, I remember when it happened. I thought like maybe when he was outside the car, I mean, he could have waited a little bit. I would have given it at least a few hours, or if not like a day or two. I know he didn't want his kid to suffer that death and die horribly like he'd seen everyone else die. Like nobody died a nice death. It's not like they freaking stung him and they fell asleep and then died. Like they all died horribly painful deaths. So he didn't want his kid or any of those people to succumb to those kinds of pains. And he actually did them a service by putting them out of their misery quick. And he was the one that was going to go and put himself in agony to be the martyr for them, I suppose. But yeah, I just feel like they could have waited a little longer, but of course that's the whole thing. No matter how long they waited, the ending could have still been the same. So they could have had a scene where it was like 2 days later and they were just still sitting there. I don't know. Maybe it would have added to the scene. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. But he does it, and then he even still tries to pull the trigger like, I know there was only 4, but I don't care. He's so enraged at that moment. And he gets out and he's like trying to like be like, fucking kill me. And then they come out of the fog and he's just like the mist. Sorry. Ooh, trademark. Can't say the fog. Wrong movie. But yeah. Then he sees the chick, from earlier, Carol from The Walking Dead. She's in the truck. Won't anyone see a lady home? Like she made it home and she got to her kid, and like the irony of that as well. There's a lot of ironic moments at the end here. But I thought that was pretty funny. And it's got to be one of the grimmest endings in the history of film. It is dark, and I just never thought they'd go there when I saw this. But I'm glad they did, because it's just, I don't know. You don't get endings like this almost ever. It is so dark. It is so dark. This guy just shot his kid to death, and the salvation was only a minute away. Oh my good God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine doing that and then that happening? The regret, like he killed himself. I'm sorry, he killed himself. He went up and he ran and he grabbed one of those cops' guns, or he tried to he had the gun on him, so he pointed it at one of those army dudes and got himself shot to death. There's no way he didn't kill himself 2 seconds later after the credits rolled. I'm not huge on the music that that woman I don't know, that doesn't really work for me super well. It's a little irritating and just very loud in your face. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I don't absolutely hate it, but I feel like they could have found something a little better. It just seems like she's saying no a bunch, right? I don't think she is, but this is what it sounds like. Anyways. All right, guys. That's it. The Mist, black and white. If you haven't seen it, check it out in black and white. If you haven't seen the movie, what the hell are you doing here? Other than that, Rebecca will give me shit if I don't plug my Patreon. So there, I plugged my Patreon. Check it out. All right, guys. Have a good night.